I'm joined here by Gods, and we get ready to catch CDEC taking on MVP HOT6 once again. Now, for those who missed Game 1, well, I suggest you watch the VOD in the midst of all the amazing games today because it was a doozy, went the distance, nearly 80 minutes, but in the end, CDEC, they just had a little more gas in the tank, came down to a very close team fight, and they emerged victorious. So they start off the group stage 1-0. This team didn't even qualify directly for the main event. They had to battle through the wild card, but we said it in Game 1, Gods, and I'll say it again. To me, CDEC, definitely a team that can make a run at the top 8, and if they really step their game up, maybe even a little bit deeper in the tournament.
Yeah, this, to me, is a very polished team. They don't have the star power, they don't have the flashiness, but you watch them play, their decision-making, their coordination and just movement around the map is very polished and very reminiscent of what you see. I mean, it reminds me of like what you saw of like the TI2 LGD, where it's all about decision-making and just general leadership and the captaining coming out from Q. So everything is great. There is some flashiness from aggressive, but even that, I feel, is not what you see compared to some of the other teams. It's very much a story of just making the right decisions throughout the mid to late game.
Well, Gyrocopter,
this is
right away for CDEC again. They'll take it. HOT6 couldn't find the answers last time. Now, when you see a Gyrocopter first pick, the hero can pretty much do anything. We've already seen that. We used to even see support Gyrocopter. He seems a little bit more popular in the carry role now, but it's not to say he couldn't play that. So what's your response if you're HOT6? They go Shadow Fiend Earthshaker, same draft so far, but like game plan wise, is there a certain way you want to deal with this Gyrocopter? Do you just avoid fighting him early? Do you pick certain types of heroes to counter him?
He's just, to me, Gyrocopter, he's good in all stages of the game. He can split push to some extent if he needs to. It's not really a hero you can really gear up and plan to counter in any way.
So you just have to go with your own game plan, basically. Forget about the gyro. We have a strategy. We're just going to execute.
Yeah, I don't think there's any hero you can pick as a obvious counter. There's certain heroes at maybe certain stages who do well, like a Clockwork when he hits that blade mail timing. If gyro doesn't have a BKB yet, struggles to fight, but against like a blade mail Clockwork, there's maybe like a 3 to 5 minute window where Gyrocopter's like, okay, I need a BKB, I gotta farm it, let's just make sure my teammate's always with me and can protect me from the Clockwork, and in this case the Clockwork's been picked up in conjunction with the Gyrocopter anyways. It's a nice synergy between these two heroes.
You know, during the wildcard stages, we saw a few games with Shadow Fiend Earthshaker, and then there was a clock pick second in the first stage to counter it. And then after that, we saw some teams going Shadow Fiend Clock, just to avoid getting kind of countered with the Earthshaker pick. But CDEC will end up snapping up the Clockwork, so they've got a hero that can really give the Earthshaker fits, and potentially a Shadow Fiend. If you catch him before he has BKB, he has a tough time surviving. Fissure won't save him in any way, and it really forces your team into a force staff. So, we'll see. Potentially a very strong pickup for CDEC in the hands of XC is they banned the PL again. Seems like, especially against HOT6, they just do not like this hero. I don't think they banned him too much in the wild card, as I recall.
No, I mean, picked up at least one game I can recall from Vegas, so I guess maybe just a different kind of approach to dealing with HOT6. They're willing to give them the Bloodseeker again. If HOT6, I mean, I can't imagine HOT6 will go for the exact identical draft. For one thing, they're not getting the Clockwork, but they'll look to make some slight changes, and I think the Bloodseeker pick may be somewhere where they go for something different. They could go for maybe more of a initiating tempo controller from their safe lane, something like the Slaughter Shadow Fiend we've seen out of Na'Vi could be strong. But I see HOT6 definitely looking to at least tweak and fine-tune how things went, because it just felt like they maybe needed something a bit different here going into Game 2.
The Slardar for Havos seems really strong. He goes Midas, it seems, and if he's allowed to get the next round of items, you know, complete the treads, if he hasn't already got the Blink and the BKB, he could just run at a Gyrocopter. You amp him, he's suddenly rather easy to deal with, and you can't run from Slardar, so it's definitely a possibility. Not a hero that HOT6 are known for running, but certainly something they could look to adapt and pull out.
The HOT6 go for the Brood here, maybe for the offlane. It was left in the pool by CDEC.
Gyro not terrible against the Brood, but
yeah,
not especially great either.
If you have some strong support to bring sentries to the table, you can deal with it okay. HOT6 go for Witch Doctor this time as their second support. This was one of the most contested heroes during the SEA qualifier. Both MVPs, Rave, everybody was just picking Witch Doctor like in the first stage because of how much priority was put on this. So something HOT6 are comfortable with, they feel is a top tier support, and will suit their style pretty well.
And both Heen as well as Jarex do play this hero quite a bit. It's one of their top 3 most played heroes, so not sure who's going to grab it just yet. Well, they have that option open, but HOT6 now move into their 4th pick as a Rubik comes out for Team CDEC, a playmaking support that could really do a lot this game. You've got the Death Ward to steal, the Fissure potentially, Cask also a great spell, and just having that reliable initiation, always a nice thing.
It's amazing how much like the metagame's changed for like teams like HOT6 since the SA qualifier. That was back when like everyone was like, we got to first pick Drow and stuff and run all these Drow strats, and Drow's just not been a hero anybody's considered.
And it hasn't been patched at all. It's been the same patch, but I feel like they've seen a lot of what the other top teams here in Seattle are doing, and I wouldn't quite say copying them, but they're definitely taking a lot of pages out of other teams' books.
It seems you have to be picking active carry heroes. For EG, it's been Clinks a lot. Gyrocopter's obviously been the most picked hero.
We've seen a lot of Bloodseekers, heroes that get involved by level 6.
Even, Razor's been picked a few times as well.
The anti-mages that got picked for Cloud9 backfired today.
Anti-mage is one of those here I think we'll see a lot, and it obviously is not an active carry, but it's just a different style of carry and strong for other reasons. It's a different kind of play style when you pick an anti-mage, I guess.
Well, HOT6 now, pick number 4 in the works. They still need potentially an offlaner here. We did see the support Earthshaker last time around for Jerax, but you do have the possibility to get a core Earthshaker if you want. And no, it's the Omni Knight. HOT6, we talked about it in game number 1. This is a hero that they love to run in the offlane for Sunbee. Hasn't been seen yet in TI as far as I'm aware, but we did see a little bit of Omni Knight Storm, actually, so scratch that thought. But certainly not a common pick. I think the Omni Shadow Fiend is the pairing here for HOT6.
Yeah, and if they want to get someone else, the hero they sometimes run with the Omni Knight as well for the safe lane is Slark, who might be a viable option. Not bad in lane against the Clockwork. I mean, you get pushed back a lot, but with the Witch Doctor, you should be able to zone him out and do pretty well. And as far as the matchup against Gyrocopter goes, it's no. I mean, the Rocket Barrage cooldown is always there, but Slark can at least heal himself up, has the Omni Knight protection, has the repel this game, so maybe a hero that CDEC should be looking to ban with that last ban of theirs.
What does CDEC want here for the 4th pick? Need another support, it looks like. Well as their final core, the mid hero for Shiki. We talked about the TA last game, didn't see it. Is there a mid hero that comes to mind for you now, Gods?
Queen of Pain's still solid. They ran it last game, didn't have any problems with it. The other option being the Templar Assassin if they want some physical damage to kind of carry them through the mid game, since Gyrocopter's more kind of nuke based and goes for the fast BKB or SMY, so it doesn't start hitting hard until much later on. So,
do you think you adjust anything with the Omni Knight, or do you think it's still stick with your stable solo mids?
Yeah, because Gyrocopter not really a diffusal carrier. Lina, I want to say a support here. You've got great synergy with the Rubik Lina. Could be a mid, but a lot of the Chinese teams generally, for the most part, prefer running Lina as a support, but
yeah, the Western teams do like their carry Lina. We've seen Fada playing that quite a bit for Cloud9, for example.
I mean, at this point, it's like kind of 50-50 as far as where it's going to go, but as far as what it could be in general. But I think because it's CDEC, I think it's a support. It's a good support option. They needed some more damage because Rubik doesn't really dish out much damage whatsoever. Similar story with Clockwork, has some like kill potential at level 7 when he's got the max battery assault, but as the game drags on, Clockwork's much more utility-based, and with the Rubik, it meant you needed that full position support who can dish out damage. HOT6 think it's a core Lina, though. They ban out Shadow Demon.
Yeah, and the Shadow Demon Rubik very rarely seen together. Neither support having much damage. Purge, obviously great against Omni Knight, but I don't really know if CDEC would have wanted that, even with the Purge coming into play.
I think it would have been a weak pick for them. Their lanes and just general ability to roam and find kills would not have been that impressive.
It feels like you would have been picking it solely to counter Repel and the Omni Knight ultimate.
Yeah.
But the Ember comes out now for HOT6. Now this is an interesting hero, because coming into this tournament, nobody was hot on Ember. He wasn't being played much in pubs. He had a terrible win rate in professional Dota as of late, but we've seen some big Ember games. Maybe in particular for LGD really comes to mind with arguably, if not the best, then certainly one of the top few Ember Spirit performances in Dota 2 history earlier today. What are your thoughts on Ember? Do you think he's viable? Do you think he's a strong pick? Do you like the Ember here, guys?
He fits the current metagame a lot, where there's a lot of fighting in the mid game. There's a lot more focused on just kills in general, and this hero hits his peaks at the right times. That first kind of maybe 10 to 15 minute peak where he has max flame guard, has a couple 2 to 3 points in Searing Chains around like level 8, level 9. Sometimes you see the 1 point in Sleight of Fist to set up the Searing Chains, and then he gets like these just cheap cost effective items. You get the drums, you get the phase boots, you have a bottle. And he's really strong at fighting and has tons of uptime. So it's a hero who doesn't have to constantly go back and heal, doesn't need to... I mean, he can, but he can go back and heal, and then he's immediately back in the fight with a Fire Remnant. So he peaks at the right time. He doesn't have much downtime. He kind of suits the metagame. As far as this game goes, he's handy because he can get out of the Clockwork Initiation, has an escape, and can fight the Gyrocopter before he hits his BK. So...
I feel like the one reason why we really stopped seeing much Ember is the ability to purge the Flame Guard, where we'd see quite a few Quas Wex Invoker picks. Eul Scepter has really become a popular item, and especially 3-4 months ago was the item for pretty much everyone. Shadow Fiends would rush it. You'd see Lena's picking it up nice and early. Now they do have at least one, maybe two Eul Scepter carries. The Lena almost certain to go for it if she gets the farm. Shiki could go for it. Normally we only see Storms do it against like a Skywrath Mage or a strong silencing support. But even if they get that, you can still instantly Remnant away and avoid the follow-up stun. So it's still not a bad hero to kind of counter that play in that sense.
The hero is also not great at taking objectives. Like, you do well in a fight or get like a favorable trade, and you can't really easily push towers or take any kind of objective with this hero following a one-team fight. But
all right, with that, let's get underway. Yeah. CDEC moving as a squad of 5. We saw this move, or sorry, as a squad of 4. We saw this move before. This opened last game the exact same way, and they're going to do it again. And once more, a ward getting planted down here in the off lane. I believe Sunby did TP for this one off the bat. That's 2 games now where he's just quickly gone in and tried to get that initial ward down.
Yeah. And on the dire side especially, doing this big rotation through the Radiant jungle to block the pull camp, very potent, because there's so many spots you can use to block this pull camp, and it's so hard to deward. Even with 2 sentries, you're not guaranteed to actually get the deward off. And after that, if you were on a run like an aggro duel lane, we saw last game they had the Gyrocopter in the offlane. If you have they've got sentries on Garda, so if they deward this, they just plop down a sentry and just reblock it. So you can really give the Radiant safe lane a tough time by contesting this pull camp.
And they've got very strong laning supports as well as cores here. The Gyrocopter easily able to get into the offensive position. Aggressive, already moving in and wanting to do what we've seen him do so many games before. HOT6 will just watch the movements. They know their camp's probably warded. They are unlikely to know exactly where, though. End up backing off. On the flip side, the Dire pull camp has not been directly blocked, but did get that ward down earlier, as mentioned.
And it's looking like an offensive trialing, and one of the important things to have to deal with an offensive trialing is to be able to use your pull camp, because if the lane's ever pushed up and they've got an offensive trialing with a huge amount of kill potential, you can't go near the creep wave. Rubik Telekinesis into the Rocket Barrage is just instant kills. So it looks like, for the most part, HOT6 will have to sack the bottom lane. Sunbee's headed down there, so at least it's a hero who can maybe stand up to it and survive a little bit with Repel and also the first item boots. But Ember Spirit, another reason where he fell off, I remember seeing Rave pick this hero a lot and actually lose a lot of games to Phoenix with it, is his laning stage can really be punished by offensive trial lanes. So HOT6 decide, let's just switch up our lanes, put him in the off lane to make sure he doesn't have a bad laning stage.
And he's now in a 1v1 against Clockwork, both melee heroes. Gets the early Flame Guard, and XZ, he's already skilled up Cog, so he's got no easy way to dish out some magic damage and break this Flame Guard. But at the same time, it ends quickly at level 1, and it will be almost immediately removed. Oh, Sunbee, not where you want to be, bottom lane. They find the lift, they get the easy kill. He may have been scouted by this Observer Ward as he moved in, and with that, CDEC strike first again. They get the first blood to open up this game too. Garda
had a really cool hiding spot. He was just in the trees to the right of the lane, not below the secret shop even. He was just tucked away, so that was just something the Omni Knight wasn't really expected. So Just smart play from him and just good knowledge of what HOT6 were up to, switching the lanes. And Omni Knight thinks he can... Level 1 is when this tri-lane has the least killing potential. It still has a ton. Telekinesis into LSA with Rocket Barrage is a lot, but he was hoping he could at least get like a level 2 so he has heal and repel.
They are dual laning Cheeky, but he doesn't seem to be phased in the slightest. Already 7 and 4, walking up on the Earthshaker, almost diving the tower at points and putting the hurt on MP, who's nowhere near a bottle. He may have to pop this salve even before he gets close at this rate. And again, you see every time that MP walks up to the wave, he gets into Remnant overload range. If he isn't careful, he may end up getting a salve pop. He'll have to hang back a bit. As CDEC, they deward and they make their move on mid. They're not going to go just yet, but gods, they've got boots up on the Rubik. And this is the item to just get things going nice and early. We've seen this dual roam strat before from LGD. There was a period where they picked it, I think 4 or 5 games in a row. Maybe during DAC, and it's had mixed results. Also, Vici Gaming, well known for the same style of play, is they'll move around towards mid. They're just looking for openings and easy picks.
Yeah, this is going to be a problematic laning stage for HOT6. They lost their key vision, which is...
They have a sentry. I think they saw Heen get this ward as well. He could get caught out. Oh, they found him, Heen. Oh, where are you going, buddy? He tries to retreat. The slave not enough, barely surviving on a tiny fraction of HP. As Shiki almost ends up going down. So, in the end, HOT6 dodging a bullet. Going to be very happy they didn't lose anyone there.
Yeah. But these supports have so much room to move around the map. There's still going to be that Radiant offlane ward, which they should expect. It didn't block the pull camp, but normally there's some ward up there to protect the offlane. So for now, it looks like they're going to head towards the safe lane, stack a lot of camps in the dire jungle, and then just get to work, maybe giving the Ember Spirit a bit of a rough time.
This bottom lane is Omni Knight versus Gyro, and as you'd pretty much expect after the way the game began, Aggressive's going to get free farm here, and I feel like I've seen this a lot from CDEC, where they pick the Gyro, they give him maybe a little bit of help early, but as soon as Aggressive has a tiny edge, they just leave him alone. And it's almost always a favorable 1v1 matchup, so as you mentioned, it frees up the supports to move, and they're not giving up anything. He's still getting his levels. Sure, they're going to bring in the Earthshaker here, but the chances of a kill are very low, especially with this Observer Ward in the neighborhood. Don't think it actually saw the Earthshaker, but just gives Aggressive an idea of any time a third support makes their move. Yeah, or a third hero, I should say.
And for the CX supports, so many times when Aggressive gets left alone, he just goes and finds kills anyway. So they're probably so confident when they just leave him alone that he's going to make the right decisions of when to fight and know kind of his limits, and they're just going to keep on doing that. They do get the D-ward off here with the Witch Doctor rotation, and Aggressive's going to have to be a bit careful.
Fissure, then the cast, and then everybody runs.
He's fighting, yeah. They've seen that one before.
Even if they fully Fissure block him, they have no repel just yet. With repel, maybe you can go in on him and tank the barrage, but I mean, there's just no way otherwise. You can't even get close. So meanwhile, they're getting out farm gods. The top 3 farmers all on CDEC. In addition to the first blood, the map control advantage, they're up by over 1,500 gold, over 1,500 experience, just thrashing HOT6 through the early laning stage.
Every single lane is kind of where it needs to be. All core heroes getting farmed. Storm is ahead of CS on the Shadow Fiend. Gyrocopter is free farming away in the bottom lane, and that's kind of against a dual / tri-lane. And then yeah, safe lane Clockwork is doing fine. It's going to hit a good timing on his level 6, and is getting farmed on top of that.
Let's see, he's looking for the cog in on 4-up, maybe go for a kill with the level 3 battery assault, but didn't quite find the opening. As they made a move on mid, oh, now Shiki getting trapped out a bit. If the cast bounces again, he may end up falling. No, the auto attack's enough. With the long-range C-Rays, they get the kill. Well played and much needed for HOT6. Getting this laning stage back under control and giving MP a much-needed boost.
Yeah, it was a good unexpected rotation. Witch Doctor showed bottom, zoned a little bit, and then TP'd mid where the Earthshaker was there with a fissure.
Meanwhile, the cogs have found him, and he tries to run, but he doesn't have phase boots just yet. A few more battery assault ticks, not even needed. Q, he'll collect the kill, and with that, get some experience as well. Things back on track for CDEC, and not an overwhelming advantage. And when you look at the HOT6 draft, you mentioned Ember not the strongest laner. The same can definitely be said of Omni Knight. Sunby, you're not expected to win your lane with this hero. You're expected to get levels and to just hang on until you can really come into play later. So although they're down, it's not as though they were really counting on being ahead at this stage of the game.
Yeah, things will get a bit scary though for the. That's the thing. This stage of the game, but also the next 5 minutes. Clockwork's hit level 6. He can roam around with hookshot. This is still a tricky point of the game for HOT6 to get much done. They can't really farm the lane safely unless they stick together and apply the buddy system with the supports, and the support's probably going to prioritize the Shadow Fiend here as far as who to protect, unless Shadow Fiend decides to defensively farm his jungle, where he has got a lot of stacks waiting for him.
We have seen this so many games now. CDEC, Gyro gets level 6. Yeah. Their initiator gets level 6, and they just smoke and they go bottom. Every time they're on Dire, they do this, and they do it again now. They find Heen. It's a quick, clean takedown for CDEC. That move, for teams that are going to play them in the days to come, I feel like certainly there's going to be a team that sees it and is just waiting there with 3 heroes to ambush them, because they do it every game, gods.
Yeah, would have loved to have seen them go for the SF stack there. He had like either a 4 or 5 stack there in the neutrals, but he farms it now, and I think recognizing that, I probably want to take this before Gyrocopter sniffs it out and comes with a cooldown flak cannon, so...
Well, they've extended their lead, and boy, is it a big one. 7 minutes, only 3-1 the kill score. Over 3,000 gold, about 3,000 experience. You really can't lose the laning stage much harder than this without chain feeding down mid. This is going to be tough for HOT6.
Yeah, they're going to be looking to fight in the mid game. They have to hit that timing with the Ember Spirit where they're strong. They're going to have imagine a point in Repel coming up at some point soon. He's actually going for 2 in DJ.
Guess what? Aggressive is roaming. They know too. They're painting. They don't see Gyro bottom. They've got a lane ward here, and the thing is, can they even punish this? Even with 3, I don't know if they can run into the Gyro. They do. I think they see him, actually. Oh, he's just out of vision.
I mean, if you look at how much time Aggressive spends in lane last hitting the first 10 minutes of the game, it's probably less than any Gyrocopter player out there.
Maybe than any carry, period. Maybe even on other heroes. I remember his Juggernaut. He moves around a lot. This is just a carry player that doesn't like to sit still. In a lot of ways reminds me of how Eternal Envy will play, like, say, a Clinks, for example. But Borev, bottom lane, could get caught out here. He's got the Flame Guard active. They have no way to remove this, so they really want to time the jump for when that Flame Guard's about to wear off. And what do you know? The timing almost perfect, but he's able to... Oh, he's zipped out. He's got a Remnant, but he gets slipped in, and he dies almost instantly to the Rocket Barrage. Can't even get another Remnant out. At the same moment, Jurex and Sunby moving in top. They do find Q. They heal off the mark. He just walks away. The ganking Omni Knight. Not nearly as scary as the Rubik Gyro.
Lena's level 7. That is insane!
They gave Lena the lane, and they just started moving around with the other cores. Storm was jungling, Gyro was ganking the enemy woods, and Clockwork was smoke ganking bottom. And the scary thing is, not only does she get levels, but they don't know where these cores are. So either they sit in lanes and risk getting ganked, or they run away and just get out-farmed. They're just getting completely outmaneuvered.
They're giving Lena a ton of kill potential. Also fun. This is Arcane Boots and 900 gold, so we could be seeing a fast Yule Scepter come up.
And that's going to ruin the Ember. The Flame Guard's going to be useless.
It's quickly turning into a core Lena. 4F TP's in tops, but Clockwork's there waiting to protect Lena.
Is 4F really going on this? He even jumps in. They might counter-initiate. He's almost out of mana. XC trying to bait him forward into the Laguna Blade. I'm not sure 4F's prepared for this to come out so early. Not going to be necessary. He'll just retreat out. But that's a 4-hero rotation for 2. And they get nothing. And all the while, bottom lane's been pushed down. The tier 1 has long since fallen. And now, CDEC, they set up camp in the Dire jungle. They get their lane ward down. HOT6 starting to feel desperate. They smoke. But where do they go? Oh, they found XC. That could be the hero. Fissure coming through. Raze can't even get in range for one. The cogs block them out. And again, they're flummoxed. They get nothing once more.
This is where, like, the Omni Knight just doesn't feel that handy initiator role. It's not a Clockwork, Spirit Breaker. You can't really... After the Fissure, you've got to hit that perfect Fissure into, like, 2-3 raises. Otherwise, you're not finding the kills. He's trying to maybe help out with points in degen to slow him down, but Clockwork can kind of negate that. He can hookshot to stun and then push him away with cogs. He can use battery assault. He can kind of break the gap with the Omni Knight using these spells. And
do you like this build? It seems like the more standard, like, utility Omni Knight is just max the repel as soon as possible.
Yeah, this game, it's very easy to say the degen did nothing. Maybe, but in theory, it could have worked out. He was thinking that the laning stage maybe would have been a bit more potent for them, but there was just no follow up for the degen. It wasn't like he had a 1v1 where he could do anything.
Cheeky! Oh, baited in and punished. Cherex was waiting for that one. quickly they turn it around. That's what HOT6 wants. They want CDEC to come to them, because going on CDEC is just seems a whole lot more difficult. They look for 4 up top, but he's got a Remnant in position. They need a naked Lina stun to make this one happen, and it won't. Dumping away to the Remnant as Garter moves in. He steals the Fissure. Only level 2. The counter Fissure comes out. And he will retreat. Fissure pretty much an awesome spell no matter what level you get it at. And he should be able to successfully scurry away to his tier 1 tower.
Much needed kill though there down bottom still on that Storm. The Storm, the one hero who on the CDEC side hasn't really been able to get involved or even get that much farm, so that's good news for HOT6 where...
That's the trade-off for the support levels. He went to the jungle very early.
Yeah. And that's also reassuring that they can still hit their mid-game timing. It's going to come a bit later, maybe more around 15 minutes, where they have the mech on Shadow Fiend. The Ember Spirit will be ready to fight, probably with like a drums or even just like... He's got the phase boots on Courier, so phase drums, whatever it may be. And they can take fights without worrying about Storm having too much farm, or even just... Like if he has a Soul Ring and a point booster or something, he's a lot scarier. Compared to now, he's just got treads in the robe. So he's going to be working on an Orchid, but he's not going to be anywhere near it come mid-game time.
MP continuing to lay into this bottom tower. The mech is complete. Good timing. 12 minutes with all the accoutrements, has the Wraith Band, the treads, the full magic wand, and CDEC not going for it yet, but Q and Garter start to inch forward. Radiant Vision is lacking in this particular area of the map, but they'll back off in the end. Play it safe. Remember, they have the stalling Fissure. Garter with another spell steal ready, so could even steal the raise if he really wants to slow down. They're going to set up. Oh, got to be quick with the repel, and they get it off. Now, Q forced back, but they hold the line for now. Garter, Fissure up in 8. And they're just completely rebuffing this push, gods, while they also pressure the other lanes. These two supports, Lina, Rubik, if they get their levels, man, they can do a lot on their own.
Yeah, good luck pushing into Fissure, Fadebolt, Dragon Slave. So.
And even a stun if really needed from the Lina.
And this is, great space for the Storm Spirit. He's getting farm and pressuring top lane.
Well, they're going to keep on pressing in. They don't even care. Repel comes out again. MP still has mech even. Does CDEC want to fight this one? They do not bring in the Storm. He continues to push the top lane, and seems they will forfeit the tier 1 here with this next creep wave coming in.
It looks like, I mean, the heroes can just right-click it down even without a creep wave, but... Trades elsewhere on the map as in CDEC continue to farm. They're not going to get a tower per se, but they are getting damage on these towers.
Yeah, they do some chip damage. HOT6 maybe fight a bit behind in terms of experience during that time, but we've stabilized here. It's about a 5,000 gold lead, and similar experience lead a hefty advantage for CDEC early on. Probably waiting for that next round of key items. The Lina Yule's well underway for Q as the arguably 4, but soon to be 3 position hero on this team. Almost caught up with his own clockwork. And the Storm Spirit, what do you think the build is this game? Do you go straight Orchid, BKB? Is it a Bloodstone kind of game for you, gods?
I mean, it looks like Orchid, he's picked up the robe. You always want Bloodstone. It's just whether you get whether you go for it like first item before an Orchid, or you get it as your second item after the Orchid. So looks like this game around, he's got the Oblivion stuff. We'll be rushing the Orchid, and then Bloodstone, the natural secondary item pickup.
Aura farms mid, but you know, they don't really seem to have the best lockdown for the Ember. They've got only the Lina stun and the pull.
I think that's where he felt like he needed to rush the Orchid, maybe. Just
to deal with the Ember.
Either the Ember, the Omni Knight as well is a problem hero. So if you want to go on the Ember with your other stuns and like disables the telekinesis while you silence the Omni Knight, is a possibility.
By the way, speaking of item pickups, point booster right away from the Rubik of Garter. Does he skip Blink and go all the way? Oh, top lane. Cheeky gets caught out. He tries to jump his way back. The cask still connects, even through the ball lightning, but he pops a regen and balls even further. It's a 5-hero commitment as they were smoking to the north side of the map. They get nothing, but they still look to push here with the mech, with a strong team fight, and the question becomes, does CDEC even consider trying to hold this, or do they just once again go elsewhere and split push?
Yeah, Storm is regen runing towards the mid lane, and it looks like they're just going to completely abandon chip in the top lane. This is where HOT6 have reached their first peak as far as their draft goes, and I think CDEC just respecting that. CDEC had that great early game start. They still got a 5,000 net worth lead, but the quickest way to throw that away is going to be by taking a bad team fight against a lineup which is frankly stronger than them right now. I think they're right in not taking this fight.
Well, Shiki wanting to make a move on 4F here. The chain's coming out yet again. He falls forward. The call down could be perfect here. Connecting a 2-3 hero storm. Dead off the bat. They look for the turn. They only get the Witch Doctor. Now XZ, his own cogs, trapping him as the chains follow this up, but they blast out the Ember. Pew pew in the dome, and he falls. CDEC forced back. Didn't get a spell steal off. The final backline support's a bit slow as far as Garter goes to get in that fight. They do end up making a 2-for-2. Cores traded fairly evenly here, and a slight net worth advantage when the dust settles for HOT6.
Yeah, CDEC just in a better position there. They kind of made up for having maybe the slightly weaker teamfight lineup right now by just being... They had 5 there in the mid lane, so if HOT6 wanted to come in and defend that tier 1 mid tower, they were TPing in one by one. They never had like a head-on 5v5 engagement, and CDEC still in a good position, keeping lanes push out. They're even going to get a tier 2 bottom tower just 17 minutes in. Gyrocopter with an SMY phase boots, and now Ogre Club going to be coming out on the career as well. Looks like, nope, he's going to go for some lifesteal, so he's going to go for a more damage-oriented build and a greedier way of playing with the Helm with a Dominator pickup.
Interesting. Not a build we normally see from Aggressive, but given how much Ember Spirits have been farming in this tournament, as well as how long most games have been going, maybe it's the safer choice here in the end. As you mentioned, I mean, on paper, the gold lead feels quite major. The players don't see it in the numbers as directly, and given how strong the Shadow Fiend is with Repel, he doesn't have to go BKB, so he can go straight into bigger combat items. Maybe this is just the better play overall. They're farming the Ancients, MP in position. 4F looking to be the one who jumps in first, and he may get 2 here with the chains. Oh, only Aggressive, but trapped out. Quickly dealt with, they finish him as Garter looks to make his own escape. He stole the Repel, but it just didn't end up mattering in the end. Ends up falling regardless. 2 heroes down. MP does cancel his own TP. They're going to steal the Ancients. Are they thinking Roche? No, they're heading towards mid.
Probably not the most efficient. Yeah, they've got the damage for it, but it'll just be maybe a bit slow. And there's farm to be had top and mid lane.
And there's hero kills to be had from 4F, who's got a Sleight of Fist in just a moment here. Oh, he dodges the stun. No, he doesn't. The Lucrative Blade comes out. Has no Flame Guard, but the heal from Omni Knight again coming into play. HOT6 showing off the Omni power. I mean, this guy got destroyed in the laning stage. He didn't die, but he got absolutely no farm out of the lane. Put 2 points in degen, which felt ineffective, and all of a sudden, every fight gets turned around by a quick heal or a repel, and that's even before the ult comes into play, Gods.
CDEC did get the tier 2 top tower while that was happening with the Storm, so that's most of the rest of his Orchid.
He's kind of shut down the Omni Knight. It really feels like that's the hero who must be dealt with.
It still doesn't feel like that's the... I mean, there was already a lot of damage just out. That was a pretty low HP tower, and CDEC are giving up a lot to get these objectives.
Oh, speaking of the Omni Knight, there's your jump in. Call down coming through. It's going to connect onto the follow-up. Not quite there. They even wanted to go around onto Aggressive as the Fissure blocks the back. Keen cancels his own death ward to retreat his way out. No hook shot. Double damage right up on the clock, though, and he moves forward. The Cogs are there along with the Yules to hold the Ember in position. He jumps out, dodging the Lena Stone. Very nicely played. And HOT6 still going in despite an endless barrage of damage. They keep on getting heals and repels and all kinds of nice ways to keep their HP in the green zone, and now they push forward down mid. They're going to look for this tower. They're just not afraid of anything.
Yep.
Maybe they should be. There's a Laguna ready.
And they don't have a Death Ward, they don't have Guardian Angel.
There's a hookup as well. This could be trouble for HOT6.
Yeah, Earthshaker only has one spell.
He ran up the cliff, ends up getting caught out and immediately dealt with. Now the follow-up attempted, the combo not quite there. 4F barely remnant away, but now the hook forward MP, even through the hail, they can't survive. They found him, isolate him, and bring him down. And they rout HOT6 as they're forced to retreat. 3 heroes down. The Storm, the only trade, as he died also up on that cliff, but in the end, a worthy exchange for CDEC, and perhaps most importantly, Gods, they hold the tower. But look how far in these CDEC supports are. You're looking at a Lina and a Rubik, who are both getting towards their eggs. Garter's got 2 components and 800 gold. Q's got 1 and 300. And that's after the Yule Scepter. But this might be a game where Aggressive doesn't really carry at all, and let alone the Storm Spirit of Shiki. It could very well be Garter and Q who do the heavy lifting as the game continues.
It's definitely something very reassuring for them where, okay, our mid-game didn't go as well as we'd like. We gave up a few kind of unnecessary kills here or there, but I think it's like, well, we've got 5 heroes who are all gonna keep on, who are all farming well. Like your Clockwork's gone for some slightly less conventional items with the urn, the treads, the medallion, but these are items which are really going to help buff up the gyrocopter. If he even wants to complete the full solar crest, which I imagine at least long-term will be the plan, you can pop that on the gyrocopter, you can use it offensive on the Shadow Fiend if he's not going for a BKB. So all across the board, CDEC is still in a good position, and that's where, I mean, HOT6 effectively have 3 support utilities in Omni, Earthshaker, and Witch Doctor, none of which are getting a whole lot of farm.
It puts a lot of pressure on MP, and I would say Forev, but he's not the most farmed Ember, and gods, he's not going Battle Fury. He's actually building towards an early Manta here, picks up the Yasha. We used to see this build a lot from the Southeast Asian teams. In fact, I would say almost always this would be the choice. Rave in particular. Chrissy comes to mind as someone who just, no matter how good a game he was having, no matter how far ahead he was, he always went Manta. Do you think this is a Manta game?
Not against any kind of a... Well, okay, there's the Orchid. Yeah. Normally you see this against Skywraths and heroes that cause them problems. Like, it's purely for the... Well, I don't know, purely. It's okay stats and damage. They just dogpile him down in the river. The Orchid... Well, he wants that Manta. Yeah, you see that and you're like, yeah, the Manta, not a bad choice. It's... He can't always have the Omni near him. I think that's the big thing. Omni is just slow. He's immobile. Doesn't have a Force Staff or a Blink, so you really can't rely too much on Repel. And the Clockwork's going to be looking to find the Omni Knight, especially with his hookshot initiations. Or him or the Earthshaker. He's not going to be too fussy. If he finds one and can isolate them, bring them down, you've taken out a problem hero. So there's a lot of room for Storm to pick off the Ember Spirit. The Ember Spirit also doesn't want to have to be forced to just be grouped up as 5 with his team. Otherwise, he's going to fall behind on XP and farm. So he wants to have that defensive capabilities. I am just so scared for HOT6 when these Ags come into play. They're both so close. Garter is going to have like a 25-minute Rubik Ag, and he's already got the level 2 spell steal. You're looking at a 2-second cooldown with some of the best spells in the game to steal. His MP will get repelled, and he runs right onto Q. The Yule Scepter, if he gets caught out, to at least slow down HOT6, but couldn't even bother chasing him. They don't have the best catch here. Ember Spirit, decent, but doesn't quite have the mobility that he needs. Yeah, this is scary. There's 4 great ultimates, there's Fissure, even just stuff like Paralyzing Cast, stealing that and throwing it and then just grabbing another spell is fantastic. If you screw up and don't toggle the heal, which actually, oh, he does have 3 points in it, so if you're not careful, he can grab that Death Ward as well. There's so many good spells for a Rubik this game. This is a game where he can come up with some big plays. I'm remembering that miracle replay from recently in one of his pub games where an Alchemist fed him one, but here we go. Garter actually getting caught out to start it. There's the chains, aggressive, true to his name, runs right in onto 3-4 heroes from HOT6, balling in his Shiki, silences Sunbi, trying to save him, not quite enough, he couldn't get off his combo, but Shiki at the same time is low as MP forces him back, despite the double damage, and he's the one on the run now with the turn onto MP, as MP gets surrounded, aggressive trying to finish him off, can he do it? Yes sir! You betcha! Q not dead just yet, but it could be a cleanup before him. He brings down 3. It's a triple for the Ember, who didn't have a whole lot of farm, but makes up for it now. He might even get a 4th and maybe a 5th. Aggressive has the Aegis, so probably not the one he wants, but Shiki would be a sweet prize. He'll just back off, except that he's not going to get additional kills. Oh, and he does retreat, but in the end, behind. An even trade, and he might not be done, as you said, gods. There's the Remnant. It's being pinged out. Storm pinged it, so he's probably just going to buy a TP and go home. But 1 second. He's out of there. Okay. Still, even though it's a 4 for 3, even gold trade. Yeah, messy fight. I don't think it's heavily... Yeah, it didn't really feel like a heavily favored either team, so... Ember Spirit does get enough money to complete his Manta style off of that, so that's going to be a very handy pickup. Doesn't have to worry as much about the Orchid. Doesn't force the Omni Knight to save the repel for it or to repel him. He can use that on the Shadow Fiend, who isn't going for BKB. This is very much a lineup geared around keeping the Shadow Fiend aligned, having him dish out a lot of damage. He's going to be the one getting the repel 90% of the time. And with that, the question is, can they protect Sunbi? Is there a way to ensure he gets off his combo? Because last fight gets jumped, gets silenced, didn't even take the full storm damage. He barely caught him, and he just melted. Is there an item or a type of way of playing that can protect this guy? The Blink Dagger gives you a lot of room to sit really far back, but Storm can just jump even further if he gets vision. I thought it was maybe going to get a Guardian Greaves, because you can obviously get rid of the Orchid using that, but It's all going to come down to positioning, as well as maybe some well-placed.
He's got the Yules, so they want to start with the Storm. They get up the Silence on the forehead. Then the Stun Lacuna combo comes out. And the end result is a very, very dead Storm.
Yeah, they see the Manta and say, well, we'll just do it the old-fashioned way, pull you in, get a stun follow-up, and...
It really isn't a full solution is the thing with the Manta. It only helps you against the Orchid Silence. If you get pulled, if you get lifted and then Lina stunned, it's not going to save you there. And I don't know if we've mentioned it, but Rubik is very, very close now. 400 gold away from his Ags. Lina has caught up.
Same story, yeah.
We're going to see the double Aghanim's ultimates, and the scary thing here is that ultimate is pure damage, so it's just going to go right by the Flame Guard, I believe.
And right by anyone who's repelled as well, so...
Actually, does it? I think it... Did they change it so it blocks pure damage? I want to say they did, because I think it started blocking Doom. I think it may actually block pure damage now. I know it didn't used to. But nonetheless, it's going to instantly blow it up regardless.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage output for what again is a full position support, but at this point Lina's going to probably take more farm priority than the Clockwork. And this is often what happens with Clockwork. You get your items, you just move around the map, and you end up under-leveled compared to that, and under-farmed compared to your full position support, which is normally a hero that can do a lot more with items. Like, there's a reason teams run Lina as a mid, or even as a safe lane farmer in the case of Virtus Pro sometimes, because this hero benefits so much from items and scales so well into the late game.
Keen playing a bit of do-si-do here with Aggressive, who is given the benefits of a now completed Crimson Guard by XZ, so getting very durable. And there's the Ags. All eyes on Garter. So many spells to steal. So little time. Now, he doesn't have that much mobility. That's the only downside here is until he gets the blink, can't always get in range, but boy, if he ever does, it's going to be a buffet for this Rubik.
Yeah. See if they look to make a move sometime soon. They're pinging towards that T2 town. Maybe you think they'll go for a smoke of some sort. They don't have any out just yet, but Cheeky at the top lane, just getting some farm on. He wants a Bloodstone next, and his team.
They found the Omni Knight, and quickly they will steal the heal. They can throw it out onto the Clockwork, try to keep him alive. The Omni Knight ultimate use. Where's that secondary spell steal? He's caught that as well. No, actually got Purification again, but that's okay. He can keep his team alive. They kill up the Shadow Fiend. Has the buyback and may need to use it right away. Q just sitting here and waiting. He quickly purges off the Flame Guard and then looks for the stun. He doesn't quite hit it. Zap anyway, and oh, down goes the Ember Spirit. They're not done yet. They even find Jerax the Earthshaker on the way out. And it's a headlong retreat for HOT6. Didn't get to see Garter steal everything I was hoping for that fight, but just the simple heal bomb is more than sufficient.
Yeah, it's a strong spell in itself. Everybody's kept well and healthy right now, and well, they're going to stop reaching the high ground.
Oh, Heen, you left your fountain. That means your food for Shiki. That's 4 dead. The Shadow Fiend buyback is now forced. An MP marching in, but he's really going to struggle to hold this all by his lonesome. And this Repel, well, level 4 now. Not something you want to be giving to Garter. If you give the Storm a Repel at this stage of the game with the level of farm he has, you are just going to have a hell of a time trying to hold.
Yeah, so they're going to back off now as the respawns start to come out. I'm surprised they didn't commit to that one. I guess the Repel Shadow Fiend, not easy to deal with. They haven't got any kind of a Diffusal Blade up just yet, and not really a clear, obvious candidate to buy one. And maybe someone like the Clockwork goes. The Clockwork's going for an Ag, so maybe Lina or Rubik, but at this point, they're ignoring the repelled Shadow Fiend and just going straight for the Omni Knight. And if he repels himself as a result, the team fight goes well because there's no repel on the Shadow Fiend. He doesn't have
it makes you wonder if maybe he needs like a Yule Scepter here, or even potentially a Force Staff. I'm not really sure. He's got to have some way to reliably keep himself alive in these fights. A Glimmer Cape perhaps could help. Sunbeam just feels too vulnerable.
Yeah. It's tough. I think Force Staff especially good against the Clockwork, so you can get out of the cogs. Unless you
Cheeky full jump in, one small leap for Storm and a giant takedown for MVP. But Aggressive says screw it, I'm going in anyway. Requiem will try to slow down the onslaught, but XC comes from the rear. He blocks up the path of retreat, and together the mowdown MP en route to 3 kills. Oh, Garter's chasing. He's still in the Fire Remnants, but can't do a whole lot with those. Just tough for HOT6 to get anything done, guys. They're down 20,000 gold, 20,000 experience. Sure, Omni Knight can do a lot with little farm, but this is pushing even the limits of that hero.
And just an uphill battle when now that Gyrocopter has an Aegis as well, so it looks like this time around they will be able to finish and commit to this mid set of Raxes, and all Ember can do is just sit back, throw some Sleight of Fist out, but with just a Manta style, he doesn't have that Battle Fury cleave, he doesn't have that threatening damage output that CDEC are at all concerned about this.
It doesn't even tickle. Aggressive shrugs it off. He's got 21 armor. You've got 17 on XZ. Garter and Q even sitting with around 7 to 9 apiece. That's plenty to survive. And plus they've got the egg, so they've got a lot of extra HP to soak up the damage. He's just not scary, like you said. They're going to need a lot of time here for MVP, and somehow they've got to find a good fight.
Oh, they're going to have everyone back alive soon, and probably going to be forced into a fight as CDEC.
There are still 3 minutes and change on the Aegis gods.
That's a worrying thought. Clockwork, by the way, he's ready to join the Axe crew. Okay, you guys, I can buy an Axe.
He's getting a little lonely here, you know? He doesn't like to be the odd man left out. Oh boy. Okay, time to amp up your playmaking potential if you're Garter. Blink Dagger, now purchased, and let's see. Is it gone? Thought he bought it.
Yeah, I saw the pop-up. He sold it afterwards.
Oh, so. Maybe he's going to go to the side shop for it.
Unless he's considering something else.
Skip a blink.
He might be considering Diffusal for the team is the main thing I can think of.
I think he's just going to use the side shop here. It's headed on a little detour.
Nah.
Blink is just so good when you have this many spells to steal.
Absolutely. Oh, no, he
there you go. Oh, no, he bought it at the base.
The struggle is real.
He just said screw it.
He got Fire Remnant.
Oh, yeah! I was like, why are you TPing home, Garter?
Yeah, me too.
Aha!
I'm like, this doesn't seem like the optimal play.
Garter just making fools of even us. He's running rings around them, and it's showing no signs of ending anytime soon.
He's left the Fire Remnant behind. He can just go blinking in and initiate if he wants.
Well, they do catch Aggressive, but I mean, it's really a question of who's the catcher here. I mean, Aggressive is the one.
He's flanking everybody back.
Every time he's on Gyro, he's up in front, tanking all the damage, and now Aggressive makes his move. He jumps in with the Blink Initiation, just look for the spell steal. There's the Omni Knight ultimate, immediately going back the other way, and he's going to look for more spells to steal as this fight continues. Maybe the Repel is the next one on the list. He's got the spell steal, but doesn't have the vision to make it happen. But that's all it takes. Shadow Fiend down, and push continues relentlessly. HOT6, it's like they don't even want to use their spells at this point, because every time they do, something gets stolen. Oh, Voodoo Restoration, yeah, I'll take that. Let's keep the team alive, healthy, and continuing to fight. Aggressive, mowing down that Witch Doctor as CDEC just march towards a 2-0 crushing opening here. Are we sure this team was a wildcard team? Because they are playing like a team that could easily make a run into the top 8, if not further.
Yeah, this is... other teams in Group B watching this will be thinking, man, for one thing, we got to ban that Gyrocopter. For a second thing, is this team going to be an easy win for us? They came out of the wild card, but I think CDEC is going to cause a lot of problems for some of the favorites here.
I think the other big thing with CDEC is it's really that 5 to 6 minute smoke